Well, a beautiful look at the ocean and the mountains in the distance. Here we are in Victoria, British Columbia, Canada, on Vancouver Island. A beautiful spring day. We see the Canadian geese, recognizable in the western part of Canada. As we look downtown by the Legislative Building, the capital city of British Columbia, right by the harbor. We see the lovely sailboats out, and the historic Empress Hotel in the distance, in behind, overlooking the harbor. And there's the venue, the Save-On Foods Memorial Center. We're going to head inside for Draw 13. We have an important matchup. It is Norway taking on Sweden. Norway 4-4. They have to win. They take on their rivals from Sweden and Niklas Edin. It is Draw 13, the 2013 Ford World Men's Curling Championship. Luke Coley will be joined by Al Hackner in just a moment as we get a chance to look at all the colors in the crowd, everyone being honored before as they get piped in with the bagpipes, the usual curling tradition inside the arena. Has a full slate of action, has all kinds of colors out there showing off their national pride. A lot of red and white though supporting the Canadian side. They'll be in action here in this draw. As Sweden will be in our feature game and the Swedish flag out. Here they're trying to cheer on this Swedish team, first of 2 games today. They are looking to make a playoff push. As we look at the teams competing, Norway, their lead, Howard Vod Peterson. Second, Christopher SWE. Their third, who replaces an absent Torger Nergard, Thomas Levold. Stepped in 2010, steps in again with skip Thomas Ulsrud. And the team from Norway, with 4 losses, can't afford another one, taking on this Swedish group with lead Victor Schall, second Fredrik Lindberg, their third Sebastian Kraup, and their skip, one of the pre-tournament favorites, Niklas Edin. All Scandinavian matchup in our feature game. It's Draw 13. Look at the standings coming in after 12 draws. Canada, Scotland at 6-2, while Sweden right behind at 5-2. Then Denmark 5-3, China 4-3. Norway, as I said, can't lose. They're at 4-4, along with Switzerland and the U.S. While the Czech Republic half game back with 3 wins. Also with 3 wins, Japan, who knocked off Sweden yesterday and Canada this morning. The handshakes, as I'm honored to be joined with Al Hackner, a world champion, and now working with the U.S. Curling, to talk Norway, Sweden. These 2 teams, good friends. As we get to look at the other games going on here in this 13th draw, Canada will try to rebound after a loss to Russia earlier today. While on sheet B, Switzerland takes on China. On sheet C, it's the Czech Republic taking on Finland. And our game is on sheet D this afternoon. As we get set to begin, Thomas Levold, again replacing Torger Nergard. Al, it's an important position, that vice spot, so it's a difference for them. They got to try and find that mix.
Well, you know, anytime you're missing one of your players, especially more so with the third, which is such a key position, for them to come out and be at their best is a really tough job.
And they had a tough one against Scotland. Now it doesn't get any easier against Niklas Edin, who hasn't been able to put a full game together other than just one. They'll look for one, and I think Norway always brings the best out of them, as good friends on and off the ice, joke around lots. Of course, obviously their country and proximity to one another.
Yeah, there's a lot of history there. I'm sure. I'm not even sure how many times these fellows have played against each other, but it's probably quite a bit. And they both realize how big this game is. So as soon as the first rock comes down the ice, the friendship's over, and they're going to go hard.
Well, and to get us going, the lead for Sweden. Throwing the Yellowstones, Victor Schall. Draw to the button, it was Norway getting last rock in this first end. Got off to a slow start earlier today against Scotland. They're going to try and pick up their game early on and get out to a fast start as opposed to get behind early.
Yeah, Team Sweden came in here pretty highly regarded. You know, they're a good team anyway, but then they won the big cash tournament with a lot of top teams, a lot of top Canadian teams in it, and they won that spiel just coming into here, which really adds to their presence and their and the proof that they can win big games and play against the top teams in the world.
Well, Nicholas Edin coming in, also the gold medalist at the European Championship, so that's big for them. They come in on a little bit of a roll. Like you said, Al, winning that cash spiel in Victoria. No, not wasting any time. That first stone goes top 4 foot. The corner guard. Now, the usual, we'll put the center line guard out in front. So, of course, just shy of the rings. These two, as we play round robin. Look at the rules. 6 ends minimum to be played. 73 minutes on the time clocks. And 1 coach interaction where the clock will continue to run when the coach comes out on the ice level to talk things over. And Norway's had this strategy a few times throughout the week. Your opponent without the hammer puts the stones on the center line. You get the corner. Draw behind the corner guard.
Yeah, just a very classic start to this game. You've seen it over and over. Many teams, they go, the yellow team would put a top 4. The red goes corner guard. You go to tight center. Around the corner guard we go. This is a very standard opening play, and how you execute after this is dictates the play in the end.
Well, Frederick Lindberg try and hit and roll off of this one. We'll just hit and roll out. Didn't want to get into a corner guard game. Interesting call to peel a guard early in this one.
Yeah, especially with that rock in behind the tee line. He could have elected to draw, but sometimes you like to feel out the first couple of ends. Don't want to get yourself too much into trouble, and sometimes a little defense. Later in the game, he might have a different idea what he wants to do.
So Christopher SWE, 31-year-old second, trying to hit off of this guard and roll to a corner guard position. Rolls a little too far, leaves that stone in the 12-foot open and a chance to hit and stick. Possible force now.
Yeah, you'll see these game situations pattern out the first 4 rocks in play, and sometimes you'll end up with a totally different ends develop as the teams choose different strategies, different whether you want to be aggressive, you want to be defensive, how you want to play that end. Obviously, this one looks like it's very defensive end, and Norway right now is probably just wants to do this, make this double takeout, get it down to 1 rock, and then blank out the end. Try again next end.
And these two, we talked about being good friends. They played a lot. We see Christopher try and make this double. Well, get one, roll it over. Will they have enough to push that one out? And there they go. As you said, Al, the double made. Now nothing in the rings. Howard just decides, rather than slide that one, I'm just going to pick it up and carry it to the other end after it hit the foam board.
These young guys are strong enough to do that. Now the rest of this end you'll just be rocks in the house and one team trading hits, or even if you roll out, it really doesn't matter. Just draw one back in the house, and it'll come down to the last stone of this end, whether he can blank the end, and then the second end will start with the same sort of pattern, and we'll reload again and see what we get.
So Sweden puts that stone in. Sweden and Nicholas Edin have had Thomas Olsrud number of late. They've won about 4 games in a row. That's what Christopher Svah could remember back. Normally they go back and forth, 1 win each, evenly matched, but it's gone the way of the Swedes so far in their last few matchups.
Well, on the World Curling Tour, we've seen Edin play a whole lot more. They're involved in all the big top spiels, and they've played a lot, whereas Olsrud hasn't quite spread himself around and played as much. So if any one team has a slight edge here, it's this fella right here, and they've curled a lot of games this year, and they're in top form.
They're over for this event, and then also they'll do the Players' Championship coming up in a couple weeks. So done numerous trips to North America, a lot of time in a plane and in airports.
And a lot of time on the ice, and they get to play under these great conditions weekend in and weekend out. So they're very used to this type of ice and this type of conditions, and very comfortable out there.
Well, Thomas Levold and the open hit will go back and forth. So sits in the forefoot. Here, first end of play. This is draw 13. Sweden's last 4 games, they have a tough finish. They got Scotland tonight, then they have Denmark and Canada to finish up. All teams with winning records or 500 or better is what Norway is right now. But they win, they deserve it. They'll get to that 1-2 game if they win out, as they chance to tie themselves with Scotland at a 6-2 record with a win.
Yeah, their record's 5-2, but some of their wins have barely been squeaked out against some of the bottom teams. They haven't looked as dominating as you would have guessed they would have been coming in here. They could have easily lost at least a couple other games to some of the so-called weaker teams, although there's not really too many weaker teams in curling anymore. But that can all change within a day. A real good, strong game here, and with no surprise, they could win all those games and may possibly win them handily and live up to their reputation coming in.
Well, and a chance to get on a roll against teams they may be playing in the playoffs. As Olsrud rolls out, Nicholas Edin, chance. Open draw in the first end, get a chance. They do get your practice, but now in game they get 1 draw to the wide side.
I guess you'd call this a free draw because there's no real pressure on you. If he missed it, it doesn't cost him anything on the scoreboard. And I always like, even though you practice and you know the ice, you always like to have one of these free draws and throw it to the rings and confirm your confidence in the ice. And the sweepers too get a chance to judge it and put it where they want to put it, and it's all an advantage. So when Olsrud rolls out, that's actually he wasn't too happy with that one because it gives them a chance to practice again with no repercussions of a missed shot.
Well, I think their worry with this is that stone behind the rings, that's out of the rings but still in play, that it could jam it and roll in. I think it should be fairly safe to catch this on the inside, the center line side of it, and avoid touching that back yellow.
To the average curling club curler that never plays at this level, normally these shots way over into the side, they're hard shots because most of your play is down the middle, and you practice down the middle, and the majority of play is down there, and you get used to that. So just to line up and slide way over to the wings, as we call it, is never easy for the club curler, but these guys, they make them all.
So
they know
last
what they're
stone,
doing.
First end for Thomas Olsrud, with the intern wanting to blank. And we'll hit, roll out the wide side, and that leaves us with a blank first end. Olsrud will retain hammer. Here in Victoria, it's the Ford World Men's Curling Championship. Well, back in Victoria, the Save on Foods Memorial Center, Luke Coley with Al Hackner, and you see all the fans here in attendance. The red and white, definitely dominant, but a lot of the spectators like to cheer on these two teams in Sweden against Norway. A blank first, and a little different from that first end. Saw the first stone go in, and then the corner guard. Here, the first stone goes short by Sweden. And Howard Vod Peterson to draw around that center line.
And these shots here, it's so key to keep it above that tee line. This shot here is probably about 2 feet too far. He'd really like it in the 8 foot.
And that's just because later in the end you want to try and be able to get a second rock in there.
Exactly. You right now he can the freeze is there. If he locks it on good, you can't do a whole lot with it, and you can't fit another one any closer to the rings to try and get a two-ender. So it's a good shot, but it's still a little too far.
So Victor Shaw will try and freeze to it, and this one a little heavy also will bounce off of it. Just got out there. They are on a side sheet. Does the ice change a little bit if you go over to sheet D as opposed to sheet C?
I think there's a little bit, depends on how many people are in the stands. There's always a little bit of a worry when you're on those side sheets and you get that reaction through the fans, because the air is circulating into the building. And when that air comes down there.
Jump over and show you the final stone. Canada against Russia. Canada looking to bounce back. Brad Jacobs looks like lying 1 right now, possibly 2, and made a nice draw with his first shot. And Andrei Drozdov in Russia coming in at 1 and 6. Was able to go in, but a little deep. Chance here, potentially 3, I think, if they can tap that one. Just have to move that a little bit. It'll take a look. I think 2 for sure.
2 for sure in a measure.
So Canada will be on the board first. I think it is. First glance, I thought it was yellow. Well, they're deciding whether they measure or not. And it is just 2, so no measure there. But Canada gets an early deuce. I think an important start to that game for the Canadians after dropping 1 earlier today. Well, Norway was able to get another one in, trying to bring a third one into that pile, get to the inside of that yellow rock. Has to like the way angles lining up for Norway there.
Angles are good, and they're becoming so good that Sweden's decided to do something with that center guard, rip it back, shake things up.
Well, that's what Frederick Lindberg's looking for. Try and make contact with something in the rings. Right back. Get them all moving, but leaves 2 reds. About as good as you can do on that one because of the way they were all set up.
I mean, you leave the red lying the shot rock, but it was a lot worse before that, so that was a very good shot.
Well, big weight and able to hit that very accurately right on the nose and keeps that Stony Iranian in a pretty good spot.
Still the advantage slightly Norway here. A good shot, a good tap, or a good angle freeze. Sweden will have to be very careful for the next couple of shots. With 2 reds in the house and another one coming, the potential for a big end is possibly there if they make some mistakes.
Well, little tap on that one as just push it in a little bit. Still, shot stone in the forefoot. Jump over, look at Czech Republic, Finland. Update first end. And Jiří's needle on this Czech Republic team. Not sure if that stone a biter in the top part. As looking to hit on this one, and he'll get it right on the nose and sit. Looked like that yellow was out. He was going for the blank. So the out turn hit ends up sticking. And Czech Republic takes one against Finland in the first end of that game. The Czech Republic not out of it playoff competition yet. They're at 3-4. They need to go on a run. Similar situation with 4 losses. You got to basically win out.
And a team that I'm associated with, the United States, is playing them in the evening draw. So I'll be here watching this game and adding some of my insight into this game. But I'm also studying that one too. I gotta
keeping an eye on them.
I'll have to keep an eye on them and supply my own team with whatever I may see.
Well, and Brady Clark, U.S. skip, right near the top, actually a top skip percentage, making a lot of shots throughout the week. 88%, better, 2% better than that of Dave Murdoch, who's second among the skips.
Yeah, Brady Clark has just been outstanding this week. He's been a real clutch player and making some great shots and game in, game out, just not missing. He's doing his job.
Well, Sebastian trying to figure out if it's a good position where he ended up or not. It is Norway with the hammer here in the second end.
I think most of the discussion here is trying to promote that red rock that they're tapping and trying to just jiggle things around. I don't think it's big weight they want to throw because they'll lose 1 or 2 of their rocks, but they like to shake things up and get rid of that yellow rock, or at least move that yellow rock that's frozen to the shot rock right now.
We see Ole Ingvaldsen in the center of your screen. Watching on, of course, he's been around to a few world championships, working with Paul Truelsen prior, and now with this Thomas Ulsrud team. Thomas making his 10th trip to a Worlds this year.
Yeah, Norway has a slight different way of team selections where they Ole there, he's the boss, and he basically says who's going to play. And Thomas obviously being a great player, and he just says, Tom, you're in, and here's your team.
Of course, the one lineup changed with Torger Nergard back home. His wife due the next few days to give birth to their second child, so deciding to stay in Norway. Trying to get by the front, just get by, and doesn't get rid of either of the yellow. I think they had to hit it a little thinner if they wanted to try and get rid of one of them.
Still good results out of this. He still ends up being shots 1 and 2.
And opens things up around the forefoot, forces a hit. We see Eva Lund, a coach for the Swedish team, and just announced actually earlier today that her former skip, Annette Norberg, the 2-time gold medalist, has retired from competitive curling. She will be missed. Arguably one of the best female skips in the history of the game.
Titles speak volumes, and she's won a lot of them.
And that's a mistake there from Sebastian Kraup. Ends up jamming on the back one, doesn't get rid of a stone.
A little unsure about what happened there, maybe a little soft, and the rock curled more than he thought. Not quite sure who the shot stones are here. It looks like the one yellow stone in the back is the shot rock. But he'd like to make a play on these rocks because he'd like to bring that one lone red stone over the wings into play by making it count. So got to remove this rock. And
can you make the double and not touch that back red?
I think the double is there. It's a little risky.
Well, they roll that one. Don't quite get shot. It's actually third shot. But a lonely yellow stone that looks like it's shot stone back 8 foot for Nicholas Sedin. What a difference if that double's made. All of a sudden you're lying 3. Now a chance for Sweden to hit stick and lie 2. Well, again, a long look of who's shot.
If the yellow was definitely shot, they may have even selected to go around, draw the shot rock around the center guard.
But if not,
if not, you have to make a play on this one if the red is shot. Team Sweden with some, they are great sweepers. They sweeping on this ice surface with the rocks. Everybody acknowledged that sweeping is so important. They make so many shots.
Well,
they are very strong sweepers, and they make a lot of shots for Eden.
Some of the time having to keep up with the big hit weight he throws. It's as challenging as sweeping sometimes.
Sometimes. I'm almost willing to put it on the line. If you and I were sweeping that stone, he probably would have rolled out. That's how important it is. They are among the top sweepers in the world, those two.
Absolutely. And then listed this Sweden team as full-time curlers. They come over, they curl all the time, and they're in the gym when they're not curling or on the ice or flying.
Professionals, and they look like it and they play like it.
They want to try and sit in front of the tee line as they go to the side of the button. Don't quite get buried. The question is if there's room to get to the nose for Nicholas or do you play the outturn freeze?
Det var lite tajt att la upp den lite, eller? Han curlade ändå bara dit. Jag trodde det skulle vara mer curl. Min curlar ju upp ändå. Hit. Så ja. Jag ska ännu lite mer. Så att det kanske ska vara sidan. Där på dig kanske?
The red stone probably about a foot too heavy.
Lite mindre.
So this shot of his here just has to come by the guard and find tee line weight, angle freeze. If it's a foot higher, he's got to deal with it. He's got to move it. So much more difficult if that rock is just 1 foot shorter.
Han slidar ganska tajt och så kan lägga upp den. Vad var det för tid? Han har försökt drift in och liksom så den la på. Jag på 10 med 10 med hade du kallt på dem? Inte mer än 4, det är ingen mer kall där alltså.
And the finish out here is when we talk finish, it's how the rock does its last 6 feet coming in the house. The curl is really big compared to some. When you go to some curling clubs, you don't see this kind of curl, and it's tremendous to watch the glide and what the sweeping can do with so much curl, all at the end.
You'll see this one be well out there until the hog line, and
Vi har ingen linje heller.
Frys på egen. Ja, vi är långt.
Ja, den är stenhård, Sebbe.
Vi fryser egen.
Vad menar du? Nej, nej, nej! Nej!
Nej, jag ska inte.
Now it'll start to make its move, and sweepers didn't touch it till the hog line. Very nice. Sit on the corner. I think they just got shot stone. Very close. But just that patience.
There'll be no play with the outturn. He may have something with the intern. They're looking over to see who's even shot rock. If red is shot, they may decide to just draw to the edge of the button.
Dra hit eller komma här och pröva kyssa en sidvägs inåt. Mest att gå på här.
Well, Al, you're the guest. I'll let you decide first who you think shot stone.
Well, they had the advantage of standing right over top of that rock, and because they're playing it this way, I'm guessing red may be shot. Chance to draw for two if they are.
I think we saw Thomas and Sebastian looking at each other. Who's shot? The 2/3 sitting in the house. I probably agree that you're playing this shot if you think that you're shot stone.
Now this shot here, Thomas is just going to lob it out there, hit the broom with close to the draw weight, and the sweepers will do the rest.
Another good set of sweepers is Howard Vatt Peterson, Christopher SWE. Weight looks pretty close, just has to get to the tee line. Put it on the button, and it'll be there for one.
One for sure, and then put the stick to the other two.
That's a very difficult curling shot, made look very simple by Thomas Olsrud to put it on the button. Didn't disturb those stones. And now a measure for this, a second point.
The sweeper's judgment too was key. Like all the way down the ice, they knew that rock was close. They didn't oversweep it. They didn't jump it. It was in their eye. They felt that this thing was real close, and all there by itself. Sometimes they got to sweep it, sometimes they don't. But again, key judgment.
And they never panicked at any point. That it was on off, on off. You'll see a lot of that from both of these teams. As you see, Norway gets one for sure. This is a measure for a second point. That red stone belongs to Norway. Yellow for Sweden.
And something that I just found out only this year, I've been around curling a long time, all measurements are done clockwise.
Oh, there you go.
There's the dial. Yellow.
And it is yellow.
Yellow by quite a bit according to that dial.
So they'll pull the one that isn't closest, and it's only one. So the great draw puts Norway on the board of 1-0 over Sweden. Sweden will have the hammer heading to the third end. Well, as we get back to our game right away, we'll check in right next door, Czech Republic, Finland. And Aku Kosti, the Finnish skip at 1-7, trying to win their second game here against the Czech Republic. An opportunity here to get two. Well, and may not be heading to the playoffs, but here a little tap trying to play spoiler now. Is this Finnish team? It's been a while since they've been in a world championship for the country of Finland. And Aku Kosti gets a 2 in the second end to lead 2-1.
A very hard-luck team. They've played well. They've been in matches. They've been some close games, and they just haven't been able to pull out the W. But they've played well and made a lot of good shots. Just a little hard luck. Sometimes you can come out here and things go with you, and you have the record in the opposite direction.
Well, he's had some things going in early parts of games. Here at the Ford World Men's Curling Championship, we're watching live coverage. Norway, Sweden. Luke Coley with Al Hackner. Trying to player on the center. Now the first time Sweden's had the hammer. 1-0 the score. Well, important. Try and make this freeze. Just sit on the corner. See the freeze right back. But first we'll jump over and Canada, Russia. As Russia gave up 2 in the first. Andrei Drozdov, another team with just 1 win, trying to knock Canada with their 3rd loss. Canada losing earlier today to Japan. Drozdov an open draw here to score 2. There's a miss on Jacobs first that was unable to remove that stone. This meant an open draw. Teams are playing Canada tough. They haven't. They started off playing really well, and everything goes so much smoother when you're making a lot of shots and Canada missing a few, causing not to be as happy, but they have to be happy with a 6-2 record.
Well, 6-2 is they're still in great shape for the playoffs, but through the first 4 or 5 games, they looked invincible. They were just making everything, and then now they've lost 2 of their last 3. Not so much on their part of their play, but that's just what happens. Your opposition comes out, and the Czech skip shot high 90s against them, and then in their last game they lost to Japan. Japan just played really well, made a ton of good shots, and you lose that one.
Good stuff. Sometimes the other skip, and I was talking with Christopher before the game, and he goes, it's not like a few years ago when you come here and you get some misses from the opponents. Everyone playing so well, you actually have to make your shots, not getting misses.
And the game has advanced so much too. I played in 2 world championships in the early 80s where half the field were just the teams weren't that strong. We could pretty well guarantee 4 wins by just showing up, and then you bat 500 against the remaining field, and you're in the playoffs. It wasn't that hard.
Every team, tough battle. Here in this field, as you see that run back just go through the 2 stones in the house, a millimeter off, and you get 1 of them, you might get 2. Instead, Norway still lies 2 and is throwing a guard.
Yeah, the World Championships has evolved to the point here where there are no weak teams. They're all good, and if a top team like Sweden or Canada, you still have to play at the top of your game if you expect to win these games. There's no such thing as showing up like we did in the 80s against France or Italy, and they're just going to hand you a whole pile of misses and you're going to win the game. It's not like that anymore.
Got to come out and execute, and you see the numbers. Canada percentage-wise at 88% as a team. Look, the bottom team is at 80%, so not a lot between the top and the bottom. The Swedish team right in the middle, 85%, while Norway, 83. Trying to make the little hit and flop. Roll behind cover, and very nice. Get shot stone, so Fredrik Lindberg will make the quiet wait, hit and roll. So the great hit and roll forces Thomas Levold play the straight back. Try and come up just a little bit and make contact with it, catches a good chunk. It's tough. You're again, just a little bit off of rolling that one out. Instead, leaves it partially buried.
Because you're running your opposition stone into their own stone, it's equivalent to the baseball player that hits a line drive right to the outfield. You've done all you can, but you hit it right at the guy. I mean, that was a great throw and well executed. It just, that's what happens. Wrong color and they still stay buried in the house.
So now Sebastian Kraup will try and take advantage for Sweden. Hit to lie 2. Well, now a little roll inside and not quite buried, but enough that it might force another run back.
Well, if he made it once,
try again.
See if that shot can be repeated. They got to make one of the two. Opting for the center run back.
This gives them some options because if they make it, they could even roll in front of the other Yellowstone. That's the reasoning you play this one.
Yeah, they're thinking so much farther ahead. Not just the raised takeout, but the raised double.
And just that little bit off. So
it's a fine line between a great shot and what's considered a 0 on the stat sheet. Yeah, Norway with 2 throws there, allowing Sweden a chance to lie the 3 here. But they really didn't throw it all that bad. You know, the raised takeout is a hard shot, and the first one was thrown and banged in with the opposition stone, and the next one was just missed. So it looks like Norway's missed 2 shots, but they really haven't. They've thrown 2 pretty good shots, so they just didn't get any results out of them.
It can be a cruel game sometimes. Talk other sports, it's a game of yards, or this is a game of millimeters if you hit one.
He would have liked to cross and over curl that one a bit to bury the top one behind the corner guard and push it to the middle to take away the double takeouts. There's still a thin double here, hitting about a third of that top one. Or he can elect to do the straight back double, hitting as much as what he can see to double it straight back. Judging by the broom, it looks like he's opted for the thin double to
the top 2 yellows.
The top 2 yellows. Or it could be out turn ice and the straight back double. We aren't privy to their language, so we just have to guess here. Yeah, these 2 teams are mic'd and we can hear exactly what they're saying, but what they're saying
doesn't transfer to us.
Doesn't transfer. We just have to guess at this point. Looks like he's holding it for an in-turn. And he throws an out-turn.
He's got a different release where he sort of sets it like he's throwing the in-turn, goes back to the out-turn, puts the rotation on it, trying to make that double.
And a great shot.
Sticks the shooter, so it's a stone that's in a good position.
My longtime third, Rick Lang, who's the team leader for Team Canada, one of their national coaches, he threw exactly the same way. He'd set, if he was throwing an out-turn, he'd set it for an in-turn handle and do the double rotation throw an out-turn. Exactly what Thomas just did there.
Now as Nicholas decides where they want to put that release, Al, is it a little bit different, harder for someone to read, like Thomas Levold in the house, trying to get a read on that as opposed to his release?
I'm not sure exactly why Rick Lang or Thomas did it. Not too many players did it, but whatever they did, it worked for them. It probably helps him set his release a little straighter. Maybe he was having little, sometimes if you over-rotate your handle on release, you'll end up curling a lot more than you wanted to. So it probably sets his handle a lot better in his own mind, and that's what he does.
Då ska den ner bak 8 i så fall. Så egentligen bite 8 är bra. Frågan är om gör den här för bra. Han kanske rundar outen eller knackar den där skottet ändå.
This shot a little bit of a guess for them. We got the ice way over outside the rings to try and roll around everything.
Du kan inte chappa den. Nej, du måste vicka lite.
They're probably talking over why, this very tough shot. You don't really practice this in your practice, taking ice over by the boards and trying to draw around a wide guard that way. So being unsure with it, they're probably talking about maybe we should hit this rock. It's maybe not the best call, but it's a shot we can make.
Jag tycker det här är bra, Niklas. Kan inte dra den för att kunna få 3. Men då riskar det här är bra. Drar vi ner bakhand så kommer man ändå gå på
So they had some discussions about, should we play the shot we can make, or should we play the best shot and try and make it?
Yeah, it's Sebastian sort of took control there and said, let's play this draw. This is what we talked about. You play that hit, you don't roll far enough, you could give a double. You just have to be full 12-foot with this.
It's still a very makeable shot. It's just not high percentage. The high percentage shot is the draw to the button or draw to the forefoot. They do that in practice. They do it throughout most of the game. They know it inside and out, and they're pretty well going to hit the forefoot every time. Because they're way out here, there's some frost involved, little guessing on the speed, both with the shooter and the sweeper, so it's not easy.
I want to try and get around, take it a little bit further so that angle on the run back is a little more difficult, and very nice in there to lie 2. So we'll jump over sheet C, Czech Republic, Finland, and a lone yellow finish stone in the house. Jiří Sneedl, open hit with the outturn, hit and stick to lie 3. Good way to answer back after the deuce in the second. You see the front end of Baruch and Kitzberger been rotating that in and out with Merrick Vidra. So the 3 have been rotating, and the Schneidel brothers staying the same in the back end. And Hermie not playing the hit, just a straight draw for 3. So a 3 points gives the Czech Republic the lead back. They now lead 4-2 after 3 ends. Czech Republic will play the U.S. tonight. Well, our game, that draw went to a good spot for Nicholas Edin, right around. We talked about the weight being a bit of a guess, and that's a pretty good guess.
Very good guess. Now under the gun here, Thomas. Tough shot, game shot. Could be a game-breaking shot. Either way, if he angles it perfect and buries it out of sight.
Well, Ulsrud drew the button for 1, took a measure and only got the 1. Here, the outturn. Well, get 1, be able to roll it over.
Made the race takeout, but unfortunately for him, it rolled wide open, and here's a wide open shot to hit and stick for the 2-ender. Like Norway's like happy they made the angle raise, but they really would have loved to have angled it and kept that walk buried behind the guard.
Well, these are nice shots to have to score deuces, not a difficult one, an open hit to take a 2-1 lead in this game. All right down the center line this one goes, as they need to hit and stick. And Nicholas Adine comes up with that right on the forefoot it sits. So 2 for Sweden. They have a 3-1 lead. 3 ends played. Here it's draw 13 in the Ford World Men's Curling Championship. Well, come take a look inside at Switzerland, China. Sven Mikkel, a big win earlier today against Denmark. Their team, they got to 4 losses yesterday. They need to win out also. And Sven Mikkel has the quiet little tap on that one. Try and move that one off the top of the button. Just has to try and move that one far enough. Chance at 2. I don't think they move it far enough. They're just going to get 1 out of it. So 1-0 after 3 ends of play. And applauding the shot made by the Swiss, the young fans here in Victoria. Coming inside the Save On Foods Memorial Center. We've had a whale of a first 3 ends. We said in the break. Thomas Olsrud making a double and an angle raise and still give up 2.
It's the nature of the game sometimes. You're out there and you make everything you can possibly make, and normally in your club league you'd be climbing all over them and way up in the lead, but here you're losing. Making everything and losing.
It was a draw to the button in the second end for Olsrud to get a single point. What they thought might have been a measure for 2. First stone a little bit deep for Victor Schall. So that one off center line. And that's Victor's numbers throughout the event so far. That's 90%. Every time I see him at a World Championship, he's right up there near the top. And Victor, that's 4th. Ryan Harnden of Team Canada is at 92% among leads.
That's just outstanding curling, and
when you're putting
a lot of that's conducive to the ice surface. See, the ice conditions are so good, and these guys are very talented. And when you put them out there with great playing conditions, they're going to make a lot of shots.
Speaking of Ryan Harnden, over with Team Canada on sheet A, lot of red stones in there in good angles that try and take advantage of, but it looks like a draw tap here for the second point, or just a straight draw for 1. Russia went to that stone back 4-foot with their final rock. Well, Ryan and EJ Harnden try to go around. And it's just a draw for 2. Shot stone is that stone. And it comes up just a little short. So that's a single point for the Canadians. Harnden's unable to make it to the button, or to the forefoot, to get that second point. So 3-2 after 3. See if that point becomes bigger later on in their game against Russia. As we went there was the nose hit of that stone by Howard Vad Peterson. The peel of the corner replaced. And now Frederick Lindberg, 85% on the event. That's tied for 6th. He's tied with Christopher SWE at that level. Try and get them both. And look at that. Able to just routinely make it off the guard and peel that one out.
Many of these teams, this game has changed so much over the years that the playing conditions are good and they can really draw and sweep. But a lot of the big thing too is their hitting percentages are so good. They can hit so accurately. There's no 2 rocks that are safe.
And just to call that shot, to go down, it's not an accident that they went and made that one. They're going down looking at it, especially Nicholas Adini. He's always sizing up some hit, trying to get rid of a couple. We're talking about the ice, and Hans Wuttrich, chief ice technician, has been doing numerous world championships.
Yeah, a lot of experience in that, man, and every time they step out here to put the playing conditions down, it's always top notch.
Well, and they're just like the players. They're perfectionists. They want to be, they take their job seriously to make sure that these athletes out here can put on the show that they're putting on. With poor ice conditions, you're not seeing that shot made of the peel.
Probably wouldn't even try it. They would just hit the rock in the house and hope for the best at it. But
81% on the event for Laval. Those are the low numbers. That's tied for 7th. And we say, yes, 81% low when you see the
20 years
third.
ago, under different playing conditions, he would have been the top 3rd. The game has involved with a combination of the ice being very good, but also the players have gotten good. These guys are really good. They're all athletes, and they train and they play a lot, and the level of play across the board has improved.
There's 84%. 6th among the 3rd rock throwers. And with Sebastian last year, that ended up skipping the team after the injury. Nicholas Adin had a back injury, actually had to have surgery, and hardly could even get up and move last year in Basel, Switzerland. The team won the bronze medal last year at the World Championship. Minus your skip just shows how good that team is and how good your players are, with your alternate being able to step in. Oscar Eriksson, quality junior, former junior player at the world level, stepping in that position. Year before that, Thomas Olsrud couldn't make it to the World Championship, and his 3rd, Torger Nergard, went all the way to a silver medal.
It's a lot of talent. That just shows you how good these teams are when a 3rd can take over his skip and hold his own and play well against the rest of the best in the world.
So the nose hit as well. Talking about stepping in, it's different because you're calling the game, but not a problem. And there's so many team decisions on shots, not just the skip calling the game has a game plan, but everyone's involved from lead to skip. Both skips similar numbers, 1% between the two. Norway with the hammer here in this 4th end. Thought they had something set up, and then Frederick Lindbergh got rid of the guard and the one in the house.
Yeah, the top curling countries in the world, Canada, obviously right there, but the one thing Canada has got going for it is just the numbers. They just have a lot of very, very good teams, and pick and choose any one of 6 or 7 teams. So Canada could come here and win this World Championship, where some of these other countries, Eden, probably the top team out of there, and Ulsrud, the top team out of Norway. If you were to get their 6 best team out of that countries,
be a different story.
A lot of big different stories, where Canada has the luxury of that. So what happens with these fellas here? They pretty well have to dedicate their whole lives right now to curl. They are professionals. That's what they do. That's all they do is curl. Whereas in Canada, most of the Canadians still have jobs. They still work.
So the hit and roll out for Thomas Ulsrud. It keeps the score the same. It'll remain 2-1 in favor of Sweden, as we'll head to the 5th end after this. Well, we've seen the game grow to this level. Some of those young fans hopefully be at a world championship at some level. Right now, interested in the toy car, probably more so than the curling going on, but here inside the Save On Foods Memorial Center, it's the Ford World Men's Curling Championship. 2-1 is the score. 2 blank ends, a deuce by Sweden, and that single in the 2nd end. We're here on sheet D. We've had ends. It's not, the 2 blanks haven't been first stone in and hit. It's been a battle of going back and forth, set things up, not setting up, throw the big weight shot, and get out of the end. Perfect stone there from Victor Schall. So an important stone, draw around. Trying to get this at least to the 8-foot if they can. And right to the top of the 8-foot. See the freeze going into the top part of the rings.
Bara vara topp 12. Se stenor. Ja, det går inte att gå förbi, det är för sent. Det är för sent.
Well, they wanted to freeze to it, just a little chip off it. Slides just off. And Norway now an advantage, just takes a little miscue like that. And advantage to the Norwegians. So fifth end, Luke Oley here, joined with Al Hackner. And the little bounce off of that one, and makes a big difference, just rolling off a little bit.
We talked about it earlier, a game of millimeters. It's just that little bit.
Well, the little roll, and as that one sits down to lie 2, jump over and see Switzerland lying 4. It looks like there's a biter in the bag. Sven Mikkel needs a win against China, and Leo Ray, Chinese skip, got off with a loss to Canada, won 4 straight, has lost 2 in a row, trying to bounce back and in a good position, try and make a playoff push if they can win this game against Switzerland. Just trying to draw into the 4-foot. And that one will do just that. It'll come down back 4-foot, single point. So 1-1 after 4. Low scoring one there with 2 blank ends to start the game off. Saw the hit from the Swedish side roll out.
Yeah, nice end developing here for Norway. If they just want to draw to the wings and draw to the edges there and just trade hits right through the end of this end. And as long as that one rock stays buried behind that guard and nothing much else changes, they'll great chance to set up a 2-ender. And all of that set up by just a miss that was just a fraction off, and
completely different end otherwise, and this one will come down. Just needs to sit on the side. They know Sweden will probably try that hit and roll in. That's another update. In Czech Republic, Finland, 4-2. 4th end, and Czech Republic pile of stones, 3 in the back part of the house. So Aku Koste draw in there, try and pick up a single point. Has lots of backing if needed. The Finnish skip just guiding this one in, as knows it has the backing if needed. It'll go down to it and will sit for 1 point, so 4-3. Czech Republic leads after 4 ends of play. They're on sheet C. We're right next door to them on sheet D. It was the run back attempt and just spilled the one over. Rolled half a rock too far. So look how that got to this point. The roll and just a little far, trying to get a little spin back.
And again, a game of millimeters and inches. If it rolls 2 inches less, it's shot rock over top that one, and the 2-ender has disappeared, but still alive with a good draw here.
Looks like it might have been losing its handle a little bit as it slides in behind.
In Scotland, that's called the Nilly Willy, a rock that goes down the ice without a turn.
Nilly Willy.
Going to try the run back again. Sweden is so confident in their run back game that they're not afraid of the shot. They just put the broom down, hit it, run it back.
So Sebastian Kraut looking for the straight back. Set it buried or roll it over, make the double just a little low. They'll be happy to get the one, but disappointed they didn't make the raised double.
And Norway just keeps challenging them with these raised takeouts. I mean, the other option too is just to draw to the wings and split the rings. That forces Sweden to make a hit and roll to get out of this end, but I guess they feel they're just going to keep putting this around, draw around the forefoot, and one of these times you're going to miss that race takeout.
Well, that one deeper than any other ones. Does that change your thought process? If you're Nicholas, do you freeze or with it now in the forefoot?
That being a little deeper, it makes the race takeout a lot harder, but it also makes the draw freeze. You freeze to this one, you pretty well eliminate the one that's on the 12-foot, so that one won't come into play anymore. But in the end, it might just give Olsrud a draw to the button for his deuce. So it's a measure of what you want to do. What do you want to leave your opposition to throw with his last rock? And with each one of these raised takeouts, that rock, that guard moved farther and farther away. That made the longer the raise, the harder it is.
To be that precise, the further out in front it is. Well, just a minor tap on that one, but goes to tough really to remove it. A tough spot to leave that stone.
It's the choices you make as a skip. Olsrud could have drawn to the edge of the 12-foot with that rock and left Sweden with just trying to make some hit and rolls and to get out of the end. Or you could draw around to the middle like you did, and then Sweden does that what they do. Now you're deciding, okay, now we're into much harder shots than we would have had if we had just split the ring. So a lot of this stuff is your decisions that you make. There's no real bad call or good call there. It's just what direction do you want to go? Do you want to get involved with all these rocks piled up on the forefoot, or take your chances on Sweden not making a hit and roll if you go to the wings?
Now it's the decision of where do you go. I think at one point he was indicating going back forefoot, but that just really congests the scoring area for that extra point. Just trying to freeze the top of it. Knows the angle's really good for Sweden to get rid of your shot stone.
A lot of these decisions are made too, depending on how many rocks are left to play in the end. You wouldn't want to really do this on seconds first rocks, because by the time everything piles in there, you'll have 6 or 7 rocks all around the forefoot, all squished around in there, and you would scoring area greatly reduced. But with only a couple rocks to go,
now just come to that spot. Does that give enough for Nicholas Edin to throw some weight at it?
You can see 3 or 4 inches of it. He's got sort of 2 options. He can either hit the red, what he could see, and double them out, or angle raise the yellow into those 2 and scatter them. The angle raise on the yellow maybe not the best. If he doubles both of them out, he'll probably lose the shooter, and that yellow one will spin off and it'll disappear, leaving Norway just again drawing to lie 2.
Gå på skjutningen för den då. Den, ja. Tråkigt den träffar här, men då gör det ju dubbeln i alla fall. Men, ja.
Får man träff någonstans där så händer det någonting i alla fall. Bara mitt emellan så får vi ju dubbeln också. Alltså, och den spinner kanske av.
Well, as Nicholas Edin decides here, we can jump over sheet A. Andrei Drozdov has decided what he's playing. Looks like he's lying 1 on the side of the button. And is he playing this quiet to try and remove that stone, or the angle raise? Well, on it right away. I think this one over curled. They're going to get on the inside of it. And it will be just the 1, so it was just trying to tap it in there quietly. Was worried, I think, about maybe chipping his own out. So Russia will tie things up after 4 ends there, 3-3.
It looked like Eden has decided to run this guard straight back.
Catch it a hair on the car side of the rock. The decal in the ice, and facing a couple risky proposition here. Run it back just over the top. First one they've missed this end, and now Ulsrud will try to utilize that. The only thing for Adin, it opens things up.
Hvis du tapper den der litt, så den blir tappet bakover, den sklir litt når du sitter der, du legger den trippelvarianten.
Not the easiest position to protect them two red ones. They're obviously doubled out with any contact at all. They're both gone. So you got to protect against that double while preserving whatever rock you throw in there. You know, the shot I like here is if just hit that yellow one right on the nose, kill your own back and the yellow one, and roll that shooter somewhere, and you light the three and possibly not give up a double. The other option is to freeze it right in there, but then
you bounce a little bit, you might set up a triple.
Might set up a triple, and
well, even if you move, you might even set up a quad.
Young Mr. Eden, we've seen him throw some howitzers out here. He's not shy of the big weight, and he can move a lot of rocks in a hurry.
Ja, det blir ikke bedre. Jeg tror du må sitte tre I så fall, så han må doble, og så får du et slett slag for tre. Hvis du spiller en 11 sånn.
Paul Trulsen, Ole Ingvelsen watching on. And
Ok, men fryse der da. Ja, jeg tror det. Ok, samme som der.
Like Paul was doing a little scouting there himself, looking in on other sheets.
Well, that's what I've been doing most of this week here. I'm with the U.S. curling team in the stands, and my job is to scout the opposition, see what I can see, any weaknesses, any strengths, and report to the team through the coaches, possibly help them in any game situations.
Well, Ulsrud has made his decision. Looks like that freezes the call. Well, it's trying to make its move. Want to put it right on the nose. Well, it sits first and second. How many can Nicholas get rid of here?
Well, two for sure. Then back two are gone with any contact.
Ja, bara en chapp. Ja, du kan lägga frys på den. Pyttelite vick ut är okej också. Så.
Well, he knows that one you probably get rid of the two reds.
Ligger lite med vinkeln där. Träffar chapp så kommer sjuan gå millimeter in mot den scenen. Ja, men det är chapp eller unset.
The top red, after it makes contact with that, what's going to be shot? Would red still end to be shot rock? It's hard to. It's really close to see who would be there.
Might just
if
be
the
that
Yellowstone ends up being shot rock, could cause some grief for Norway to try and get at it with all those rocks clumped around it. Because this shooter is the one he's throwing is going to be in there somewhere.
Wants to get this, I think, right on the nose is national team coach and Pea Lindholm, trying to see the angles himself. Reporting back to their fifth player, Oscar Eriksson, and coach Eva Lund. So right on the nose, how hard is this going to be thrown?
Probably doesn't have to throw it too hard because those back two are just make contact and they're gone because the way they're angled. But his whole focus here is his rock, the rock that he's throwing. He wants this in a certain place.
Very nice. I think it is that Yellowstone that is shot. Still going to be an opportunity for two for Ulsrud. I think he has to try and come to the nose of that one.
Not easy.
No. There's a look.
Yeah, it does look yellow. So you have to absolutely miss that top yellow one and hit that one and stay. That's there. Not easy.
Well, Ulsrud good at this quiet hit weight. Just let the sweepers do the work on it. Get it to the nose.
He's been a very talented shot maker over the years. A lot of skill, draw or hit. Very good at the finesse. Quiet weight game. At least that's what I'm going to file in my scouting report.
Oh, there we go. I'm glad to have helped in your scouting report. Thomas Ulsrud would love for you to write down. Able to make a nose hit for two in this fifth end. Not an easy one. Forced to a difficult shot to try and get his two. Well, SWE, Pedersen. Got to get by that top yellow. Can they sneak it by? Get by? Right to the nose on the beak to get their two. Just fantastic shot, as it is Ulsrud and Norway who will have a lead heading to the fifth end break. I'd like to thank Al Hackner for stopping by. He's got to go do some work now scouting for the U.S.
Yeah, Czechoslovakia is on my list. I got to watch the rest of that game and report what I can. And I also want to thank you for having me up here. I got a chance to scout the team Norway because we played them in our last round robin game. So it was a pleasure chatting to you while I'm at work.
Excellent. We'll be back for the fifth end break here right away. Well, look back the first five ends of this game. In the second last stone for Thomas Ulsrud. And he had to draw the button. This one weren't sure who was shot, so played the safe shot, put it right on the button. And they'll get their one. They look at it, the measure, and it is just a single point. So one for Norway in the second, third end, and after a double and an angle raised by Thomas Ulsrud, Niklas Edin has the open hit and stick. Score two, and he'll do just that. So Sweden takes the lead after three with the deuce. And that last end, the fifth, quite the lineup of stones. A perfect nose hit by Niklas Edin. And Thomas Ulsrud needs to get right to the nose of this one in order to get his two back in the lead. After a blank fourth, Ulsrud bang on right to the nose and just enough. They get to the nose, good for the deuce, and it is a 3-2 Norway lead as we're through five ends of play. Well, look at the other scores here. Fifth end, Canada-Russia 3-3. Switzerland-China, low-scoring one in the sixth. It's 1-1, and the Czech Republic leading Finland 4-3.
han er helt enig. Han har liksom skåret inn på slutten 2 ganger nå.
3.
Ja. Ser bra ut, og så drar han. Men spiller du i hvert fall som nummer 2 hele tiden, hvis du spiller den?
Ja, det er gjort av det.
Ja.
Så, klart, hvis det er helt overbevist at det er take, så kan jeg spille først. Men når jeg først sitter og tar fram stammen, så bort med en annen så tar det 10 sekunder.
Ja, og sånn er det.
Det er 10 sekunder i vanlig sikard.
Det er greit. Du får begynne å holde litt opp tempo.
Well, the Red Surge of the RCMP, the National Police Service, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, catching up some curling.
Bra, fortsätter vi.
Well, as we're through 5 ends, Norway leading 3-2. You look at the percentages, good for both sides, but Norway, probably their best game so far, as overall at 91%, no stolen points, 2 deuces, and the 1 single on the draw of the button by Ulsrud has them up 3-2. Well, the red and white is out there for not just Canada, but there's a few Swiss flags out there as we get into the 6th end here. Howard Vad Peterson will get us going in the 6th end.
Ligger bra. Er løs. Saja. Stå på gard. Ja. Full 12 da.
Nei, det er ikke det.
Ja. Ikke noe høy gard i hvert fall. Japp. Ok. Jeg har det.
Jeg tror han setter seg fram, men det
Ja, jeg behöver curla stanna, den är alldeles för lång redan.
Ja, den är tight. Ja, bara stanna.
Shit. Hej.
Well, we see the 2 guards. Luke Coley now joined Christian Lindstrom, a member of the Oscar Eriksson team, who is their 5th player, and you're here taking in the Worlds. Going to be a little bit of a translator and talk about these 2 teams you know quite well, coming from Sweden, obviously. A good first 5 ends. And now looking for the come around 4. This Norwegian side, try and get things going. Anything in that first 5 ends, Christian, that sort of jumped out at you? Both teams making lots of shots.
Yeah, they're making a lot of shots, and they're playing good. These 2 teams, they know each other so good, so they don't want to give anything to another because they know they're really good teams. So I think we'll see some more guards and some more shots now and some more rocks in place.
Lower numbers for Victor. A couple of misses early. It just didn't get the rocks in the right spot. Going to try and rebound, get a deuce right back. Victor able to make that little hit and roll away. So in this position, Norway want to try and roll this one behind the center.
Yeah, they want to keep the game in the middle of the rings, so we'll try to roll this shot.
Saw the good numbers for Christopher SWE. 91% as a team. That's a pretty good first 5 ends, especially having to rebound after a loss this morning against Scotland.
That's really good numbers, and they are a good team. So what I've seen so far, this is the best game so far.
Vi har lite insida. Gå gärna på vilken. Bra försök. Bra fart i det. 10,5 eller? Ja.
Well, we'll jump over Canada, Russia, and you see Russia lying 1-2 and close for a second shot. We'll confirm that for you, but it looks like Brad Jacobs trying to get to the nose on this one. 3-3 game. This is the last of the fifth. Just that quiet wait for the Canadian skip, trying to bounce back like they did yesterday with a win. And the nose hit, that'll be there. It'll be just for a single point. So Canada 4-3 over Russia. Russia coming in their first World Championship and just one win. It's a tough task playing Canada.
The Russian teams, they're a good team. They're a talented team. They haven't played that much, but they're a talented team, and I think in a few years we'll see them climbing in the stands.
Definitely will help their the host nation, so they're into the Olympic Winter Games and next year in Sochi. Both these teams probably be in good running to represent their countries at the Olympics.
Yeah, they will. Norway is they are playing the Olympics, and Sweden, I think, will be playing the Olympics. There's no other team that can come in this late, so Sweden, Nadine will probably play.
Just continuing to trade these hits on the side, trying to get the inside roll. These rolls are hard to try and make it perfectly behind that center line stone.
Yeah, they are, and they seem really hard now. Like, maybe you just need to go for it like a little more. And if you roll too much, then it's okay. Like you tried.
.93 on the game for Sebastian.
He's been playing really good.
Well, they roll it a little away. It's Sweden with the hammer. 3-2 is the score. It's a tough finish for Sweden. They got Norway right now. They can't look past that because they know they have Scotland tonight. They have Denmark, and then they finish against Canada. So
absolutely, it's a tough finish to go to the playoffs. And maybe that's what the Swedish boys need, like a tough finish to pick themselves up where they usually are.
Well, there's the hit. Roll right behind.
It's a nice shot.
That's the type of shots they've been making all game as we'll cut over Czech Republic, Finland. Czech Republic, the Redstones looks like might be room to make a double. Score a big end here. Jiří Sneedl and this Czech Republic team beat Canada for the first time at a World Championship yesterday. Trying to use that. They're at 4 losses. Can't afford to lose another. Looking at the double right through the hole, and look at that. They will get 3 out of it. So a 7-3 lead over Finland. Czech Republic plays the U.S. tonight. Both those teams with 4 losses. This one peeked out just the other side, so now the other guard going to come into play. And Sweden answers right back with a pretty good roll themselves to the edge of the 8-foot.
Good shot. They want to use the corner as much as possible, and Norway will try to move around the center guard now, so try to keep the play in the middle and make it hard for Sweden to score more points than 1.
The Stones saw them just switch the zones. Did they say, Christian, exactly one that maybe curls a little more, trying to get that one?
Probably, yeah. I think they have pretty good knowledge about the stones, and probably they switched to get a more cutter, like a little more curl.
Ulsrud 95% on this game. Know they needed a big game. They can't really afford to lose anymore. Dean's had their number the last few games, so in their battle back and forth, probably the most familiar of any two teams in the field are these two.
Yeah, they are. They've played each other for so many years now, and this looks really, really good. That's a perfect shot. Perfect.
Right in behind.
So Sweden will try to line up the freeze, so maybe they have a race on the corner later for 3 points if Norway decides to guard. Nicholas is talking about peeling the guard, and if Norway then misses the guard, they have a shot for 2.
Då kan vi pröva att få den.
Ja, eller så har vi kvar den för att skjuta på 2 sätt.
Ja, men jag menar, då måste missa en guard kan man snärta på 2. Eller då måste man nästan slå på dig. Ja, men missar en dubbel så får vi chappet.
Om jag bara klipper bort det dock så är det ju då... Då får vi... bort med båda, då chappar jag den.
Ja, då får vi öppen chapp då för en. Det är inte helt fel det heller. Nej. Kan ju spela med en 8 om du vill med den.
Sebastian he's talking about maybe peeling the red guard and going on to the yellow and maybe and get it in the house, so they're lying second and third. So that's what they're doing.
Känns som halv är ganska nära, den smiter upp precis ovanför, va?
Well, looks like where the broom is, that's the decision.
Yeah.
Try and get lucky and just touch that yellow one.
I think it's a good call.
Well, Nicholas, 95% himself.
Yeah. Amazing stats for all the players.
I'll try and catch it, and we'll just go over the top of the yellow.
It's a nice try. They didn't want to peel both the guards, so that was a good shot anyways. And Norway knows that Sweden wants Norway to put up a guard, so I think they will search for the draw and the freeze.
Du ser hvor den ligger. Den må være bedre enn den. Vet ikke, når du drar dit, så har du is her. Det er litt annerledes på linja selvfølgelig. Sånn. Svinger vi på innsida av den på ringen der. Er det mye? Det er mye, tror jeg. Krymp litt. Der, ja. Det er dumt å gå tom for ringer også, da.
So corner freeze the call, put this one on the in front of that Yellowstone.
Yeah. You don't have to corner freeze it, just draw it like second shot where there's no double. And even if it's not buried, it's still, if you do the double, maybe you can jam it on your own and then maybe lose the 1 point or get the force.
Thomas Ulsrud, his final stone of the 6th end. Has a 3-2 lead and a must-win game for Norway.
Okay, bak 10, bare fart.
Ska bak 10. Linja är väldigt bra. Det är gul linje, full 8.
Needs to curl. Doesn't really have the line. But that's a good shot. It makes the double really hard, and I think Sweden has to nose for 1 point.
Okej, om du känner för det så.
Nicholas wants to try the double
Ja, jag sätter inte varje gång.
and try to get the 2.
Sjätte, ganska bra läge, får 2.
Nicholas wants the deuce because it's in the 6th end. So the deuce now will be very important for the Swedish team.
Gillar ni chapp eller gå på den? En fjärdedel. Fjärdedel? Fjärdedel.
1/4 for the double.
Om det inte är tunnare så.
They worry. I saw him sizing up. He's trying to figure out if he does jam on his yellow, that is he second shot, or get shots thrown out of it to score one.
That's what they're talking about. Like, is the risk worth it?
Stickar vi mot egen får vi inte. Ganska stor chans ändå att jag kan sätta dubbeln och rulla av så att säga. Men alltså, jag menar att man ändå får ett. Chappen den är inte helt gimmig. Man ska ändå ligga kvar 1,5 meter ungefär.
Ja, men vi spelar ju samma sak.
Sjätte då. Det är dyrt att tappa ett. Jävligt dyrt att tappa ett.
Frederick says it's the same angle as the peel on the guard.
De vill gå för det.
Yeah.
Okay. Tycker du okej eller vill du? Nej, det...
So the double is the decision.
Nicholas never is afraid to play the hit.
Now he loves these shots. That's his favorite shots, the hard ones and the thin ones and the doubles and.
Well, the double is there.
Yeah.
Chance to try and pick up 2. Be their second deuce of the game. Trailing 3-2. Nicholas Sedin, final stone of the 6th end, looking for the double. Well, try and catch it thin, make the double stick around. Now the question, will it spin up? Will it spin out of the rings? It'll spin. Does it spin back? It will go out. He makes the double, but can't hold the shooter. Nicholas Sedin only gets 1. We're all square, 3-3 after 6 ends of play.
Då har du lite träffpunkt. För det var tynt. Det var tynt.
take a look in Switzerland, China. A low-scoring affair in this one between two teams that need wins. Switzerland's Sven Mikkel, last rock, 6th end. This is a 4-4 record, trying to run that one back, pick that yellow out, but it'll remain there, so only a single point for the Swiss. They're through 6 ends, and Sven Mikkel needs a win, is down, or pardon me, leads 2-1 as the Swiss fans here in attendance in Victoria at Save-On Foods Memorial Center. Luke Coley with Christian Lindstrom as we watch Sweden against Norway. It's been a fun game back and forth so far. Nicholas had a tough break on that double, getting enough spin as it actually spun right out of the rings at the top part of the house.
It's so close when you make that double. It's only centimeters or millimeters. So that's a very important point to the game.
So as we've seen Fairmount in this game, the centerline guard, come around, an important placement of that stone.
Yeah, very good spot. You only want it in the forefoot. You want the perfect freeze now, or just right in front of it. And you got to go a good angle, and you have a good start to the end.
Well, they want to try and get to the corner, able to just freeze to it. We'll jump right next door, 7-3, Czech Republic leading Finland. Last of the 6th end here, Aku Kolste trying to bounce back and try and answer the 3 that was scored by the Czechs on a great double. Good to see Finland back at the world stage and having a tough go of it this year, but has competed in every game, hasn't really been blown out. And drawing in 8-foot or better, right to the 4-foot for Coste, and it is a single point, so 7-4 after 6 ends.
Really good shot by Norway there, with a small tap back and just get the angles right, and really good shot.
Angles very important early in an end. Try and get things set up.
They're very important when you're meeting this kind of teams. They're so good with angles and with the hard shots, so good angles and you can score a lot of points.
A little bounce. Pretty good spotter is their play for Norway to move those yellows around.
I don't think they want to move them around now. Maybe just small tap back again, or just a draw and a freeze. I think Tom is looking for the freeze now and just keep angling up and putting the pressure on Sweden. That's a good shot. Didn't curl up as much as it wanted, but it's in a good position.
Just a little tap and just trying to line things up. How long till we see a big weight shot to try and move some rocks around?
Not that long, I think. Maybe 2 or 3 stones, and then someone has to make a big shot and run the center guard down. Probably Sweden because it's a yellow. It depends how this stone will end. Yeah.
fart. Ben! Japp! Bakåt! Ben! Bakåt! 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 Ta lite insida, vänta. Insida,
Well, may have pushed it just a little far. Goes back 8 foot. Still shots don't. It's like just the one right now for Norway, top of the button.
Yeah, but Norway has it lined up really, really good. Red on the yellow and the yellow down to the yellow on the back. So big advantage to Norway now. They can get out. They can get rid of all three yellows now with a big shot.
So trying to get rid of all three yellows here. Well, past the guard, make them all go away, gets them all moving, but jams on the back.
Curl too much. Yeah, curl too much, but Norway's still in a good angle. They're lying too fully buried, so most important in front of the T-line.
Nicholas just scratching his head there, not sure what they like at this stage. It's not looking that good.
No, it really doesn't for Sweden.
Den här blir ju ingen bra. Hur en sätter den så kommer den att sitta där. Eller i alla fall ta bort den stenen. De har ändå öppet 3-tempo om inte...
Det ligger ju äckligt farligt.
Ja. Sätta ner centern.
Den här då?
Sätta ner centern så, vicka in den på kanten, försöka dubbla dem.
Rulla bort med den
Tar
här.
den dock för tjockt, träffa där liksom. Det är risk att den också bara smyger ner på den här.
Ja, fast det ska bli jävligt.
Däremot så ligger alltid bot och vi öppnar upp den här rackaren.
Ja, jag gillar den här.
Det kan ju ligga illa. Alltså tar vi lite tunt och jämma fast den bara. Bam, bam, och den sitter där. Så. Ganska dålig vinkel för den. Den är fortfarande helgardad de där.
Ja, fast jag gillar nog den här faktiskt.
They're looking at angles now and just if how many reds will remain in the house, and they're afraid of.
Jump over Canada, Russia. Canada at 6-2, taking on Russia 1-6. 4-3 is the score, and Russia with last rock. Looks like Canada lying 1-2.
Det går ju skjuta på dumpen och ligga 2.
Andrei Drozdov trying to put, not sure exactly how, trying to get a single point out of this.
Small tick on the
just trying to touch theirs in, get rid of one and just give up a steal of one.
It's a good shot. It's an important shot in this time in the game, but Canada up 2, and it's a big advantage Canada now.
Nästan 2/3, något tunnare än 2/3.
So Sweden wants to peel 2/3 of the yellow. Of the yellow guard here, down on the red ones, in front of the house. Try to get a double in the house.
Dra bort den här också. Ja.
Well, trying to run this one back, get a couple of the reds out, don't touch your own, and push that one in. Much better situation now that center line guard's gone, just those 2 reds.
That's a perfect shot. That was what they wanted, so it was really, really good. And Norway is playing the freeze back 4. in the second Yellowstone.
But trying to freeze that back one, is that the call here?
Yeah, try to lie 2 in the forefoot. And Sweden will have a double, but they still will be freezed. Norway will be freezed back 4, so in a good position. This has no line at all. Just going to tap it.
Well, pushes that further. They do lie 1-2, but a chance now get a couple of them out.
Yeah. Double here for Sweden, and Norway has to probably make a draw to the left side in the house. Just split the house.
Kan få kvar den här också. Spelar en clearing så blir det förmodligen sådär. Okej. Ja. Det gör inte så mycket. Men jag tycker hård, Niklas. Samma träff som förra fick. Ja, jag tycker hård ändå, ja. Ja.
So Sebastian Kraup make the hit, sit right in the top part of the rings. Can be a big swing.
Yeah, big swing in the end, and same hit, 2/3 as the last one. So really turning the end around here.
Well, an important game for both teams right now. Norway 4-4, Sweden 5-2. Trying to make the double. Well, makes the double, rolls out, quickly jump over Switzerland, China. It looks like Swiss shot stone, side of the button. We look and see Leo Ray out-turn, trying to get into the forefoot. Trying to tap this one in, try to have the right angle, tap it up. Trying to get a deuce here, get by, tap it up. Use the backing, very nice to
beautiful
get two.
Shot. Absolutely perfect.
So 3-2 after 7, China leading Switzerland. Nose hit to sit first and third. Puts the pressure on what Nicholas has to do now.
Yeah, Norway want to play the hit to lie first and third because there's no double, and you still have the maybe a chance to blank the end, or you have a better chance than if you do a draw. So maybe they're looking to blank the end, but I don't think that's going to happen this end. Too many rocks in play. So Nicholas is looking for a little bit roll to the outside here. Make the double harder.
But has to be careful they don't touch their own in the process.
Yeah. And Sebastian is talking about nose hitting the one in the top 12. But Nicholas says no.
Nicholas overrules on that one.
He's the boss. They're going hard for line here.
Well, right on the nose. So there's a double as we look over Czech Republic, Finland, 7th end. You see that Yellowstone right back button. Jiří Sneedl trying to get to it and move it. here, opportunity. He can push this one out. Big end, but there is that guard out in front. He has to deal with. But this one real wide. Needs to move in. It was dead buried, but this one sliding right by it as it just rubs it, and it is a steal, so a big difference there. Instead of 7-4, 7-5 as they're through 7 ends.
Yeah, big steal for Finland. They need to steal all they can now to get into game again.
And they're going to have to try and fight their way back. Those two 3-enders make it tough. Meanwhile, Thomas Olsrud, his first.
Trying to make the double here and roll out just a little bit. No line, they say.
Well, hasn't missed much in this game, and there's
and it's a big miss. It's an important miss for Sweden.
An inopportune time.
Jag tycker jag spelar en 10 och så försöker vicka dit. Ja, vicka är givet. 10 så rullar bra. Vick. Gäller att vicka. Ja, mitt för egen. Samtidigt. Han har bränt några sådana. Ingen gimmick.
So nose hit here for Nicholas, and if you would have told him he could get a force out of this a few rocks ago, he probably would have taken that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they were lining up good for Norway in the beginning of the end, but a great shot by Sebastian. Sweden has the advantage. I think they're trying to roll in, make the one even harder for Norway.
Well, not much of a roll, and Thomas was already heading down as that one was about to make contact.
Yeah, it's a nose hit for Norway to take the one. So it'll be a big force from Sweden.
Yeah, key time, they can be one down playing the 8th end, try and get their 2.
Exactly.
So last stone here for Thomas Olsrud. Opportunity to take a 4-3 lead in the game. If he can make the hit and stick.
It's tight for line.
Well, SWE and Pedersen got to hold this one for their skipper.
Oh, looks good.
A little roll, nothing too far, so it's 1 for Norway. They take a 1-point lead. 3 ends remaining here. It's the Ford World Men's Curling Championship. Well, that first stone just into the top part of the rings. Now without going there, do you play the hit?
If there's a chance to be in front of the house with the hit, you play the hit. But I don't think Nicholas is taking a chance, so he's just playing the corner guard. They really want their deuce here so they can force Norway to 1 in the 9th.
Well, it becomes you're not just playing against your opponent, you're playing with the scoreboard, trying to set things up. 10th end, have the hammer. Corner guard goes out.
And of course, Norway want to force Sweden to a 1 point, so they put the center guard up. Keep a lot of centers in play and go for the center coming around.
Well, a stone just in the top part of the rings, it makes it tough to really force play there because there's still a lot of room to use that corner guard now.
Yeah, it is. I think they're afraid of if they go around the corner guard and Sweden comes around the 2, the 1 in the top 12 and the 1 center guard, they'll be very well hidden there, so they're a little afraid of that and wants to be the first one to get behind the center guard.
Well, 8th end, Norway, Sweden, draw 13. Norway, their final game of the day, they lost earlier to Scotland. We'll have tonight, tomorrow morning off. Finish up the last day of round robin. Norway plays the US, and then they finish up against Russia. Coming in 4-4, can't afford a 5th loss. Well, you see the numbers, the difference. Some of the draws, Victor shot a little bit lower. Hardvad Peterson, usual numbers, a little bit low for Victor. You're used to seeing him up around that near 100% mark.
He's always at the top when you're comparing leads, and Howard is right at the top too, so he's had a few missed shots, and that's the only difference.
What they've missed on that, they've made up with some sweeping in this game back and forth. Interesting first half of the game, sort of not able to get things set up, going back and forth. Norway draws the button for 1 in the second. Again, advantage Norway.
Yeah, it seems Norway really had a good game, and they really picked themselves up and really going for it.
So lying shot stone in the 8-foot. Norway will be able to see most of this one. Christopher SWE.
Just a board weight or a hack weight and try to roll behind the center guard in the top 12 stone.
So that's a call from the man they like to call Bumpy.
Yeah.
These two teams familiar, played at the European Championship as well. That Sweden was able to win in the championship game, was 8-5 victory for Sweden. Well, make the hit and we'll roll big all the way across, sit side of the 4-foot. It's partially buried. Maybe a little bit deep for where they want as we cut over Canada, Russia. Andrei Drozdov, final stone against Brad Jacobs of Canada. Opposite records there. You see the 1 win for Russia. They're trying to draw for a single point. A couple of stones behind the tee line. And Drozdov trying to put this one right down to it. As they have those 4 reds in there for Canada, but that one right down, back button, and Russia gets 1. So they're within 1. 3 ends remaining against Brad Jacobs and Team Canada. As the run back goes, and unfortunate break actually leaves that one just as a biter, top part of the house. Frederick Lindberg has to be happy
Yeah.
Not
Really,
easy
really
one.
good shot. Really good shot.
Unrolls the shooter off the center line just a bit, so now they have a couple of stones behind that they can, on that side of the sheet, they can draw behind.
They have 2 corner guards, and that's exactly what one corner guard or 2 corner guards that can come around and put the pressure on Norway, and that's what they're trying to do. So they're forcing Norway to play the corner game, and that's the plan for this end.
Well, Thomas Levold right in behind, and nicely done. Doesn't go too deep, just the top part of the rings.
They'll leave a chance for a double here or a run back.
Kan man slå vicka under på den? Alltså härifrån ner. 35-40% för att sticka den. Aha, okej. Bara vicka så går ju. Men det här blir lite jobbigt i så fall.
Thick half for the double.
Nej, jag tycker gå för dubbel.
Nicholas wants to make the double.
Ligger det bra. Spinner vi upp lite så blir det okej också.
You like the double at this stage or the run back?
I like the double. Yeah. They're really good at those kind of shots, and they're good at the run backs too, but in this stage with 2 corner guards I will make the double. That's the right call, I think.
Ja, kör en clearing tycker jag.
Well, advantage, Sebastian Kraup at the 3rd position. Not bad numbers for Levold, but when you're being outcurled by 11%, it's a big difference.
Yeah, it really is, and Sebastian has made some really, really nice shots. And
well, try and make the double. Won't, but will hit and roll over. Hangs around top of the rings, so just that little nibbler is a big difference than if it rolled out.
Ulsrud tries to split the house. He wants to split the house and sit too.
Du får en skytning, och så ligger bägge ligger hit. Få en toeren där borta, så ser. Ut på sidan där. Ta dockis.
He was thinking about going behind his own there in the 8-foot, but he was afraid that Sebastian was doing the run back double, so they want to split the house instead.
So the out-turn draw, go to the wide side.
Yeah. They know each other so well, so they know that Sebastian will probably make the run back, and then it's a good chance to make the run back double. So I think we'll see the run back now anyway. So
well, that one goes real deep.
Yeah.
I think they wanted that one a little bit higher in the house.
yeah.
Well, trying to run it back and goes right in between, opens things up, but that will miss either one of them, and Bastian hasn't missed many of those in this game.
Nicholas was waiting for it to curl up a little bit more, and then he saw that it wouldn't curl up, so he went for the other double and just missed it. So
one of those in between where
Yeah.
you're thinking of one, you try and change to the other, and it goes
Yeah.
right between them.
very common in the game of curling.
Men ja, okej.
Jeg vet ikke.
Litt foran der, så kommer han rundt.
Dra rundt foran.
Og så drar vi her etterpå.
Ja, enig.
Det er ikke så lett for han å dra foran 10, i hvert fall hele igjen. Ta et guard, da. Hvor is her? Midt på
Want to
der,
throw a tight guard here. So if Niklas makes a double on the guard and the rock in the 8 foot, and Thomas will go around that guard.
Ja, men da må vi prøve å dra rundt han igjen da.
That's what they're talking about.
Hæ? Ja. Da kjører vi tapperen på nesa for en lett dobbel. Ja, det var dobbel og rulle bak da. Så må vi stoppe der hvor løva har kosten nå. Nei, jeg tror dette er like det. Da slår han og ruller. Hæ?
A look at the Norwegian coach's bench. Paul Trulsen, Ole Ingildsen. A lot of experience between those two.
A lot of games.
I've seen a lot of shots.
Certainly have. And played a lot of games too.
Well, they want to close up so there's no hole, and the question is...
And that guard now forces Niklas to make the shot to the 4 foot. To make the draw.
Så. Ska hit. Här borde räcka. Det är 4 fot. Ja, här funderar jag på mig. Ja, det är bra. Nej, ännu mindre. Nej, ta det. Nej, jag tror det är bra.
Well, I think that's... Ulsrud probably wanted him to play this, to go after playing the intern come around.
Yeah. He knew that if he played a tight guard at Niklas, he had no choice really but to do this, so there's a good chance of forcing Sweden to 1 here.
Den andra röda som är problemet, garden är inte i vägen alls, ska ju den då gå stenhårt i den andra. Samma farter? Samma fart. Borde ha...
Well, 100% on his draws so far. He's going to throw one. You see both skips, nothing to choose between the two.
Really good score. For some pretty hard shots they've made this game. So they're on fire this game.
Låt den kala, den är lång. Låt den kala då! Ta den inte! Vinner det bra! Men ni gör det! Byt tillbaka!
We're going hard now and try to get it fully buried on the 4 foot. Looks really good.
I'll try and just get by it.
Just take the one in the 8 foot.
Just touched it as well. Jump over Czech Republic, Finland. 7-5 coming to this 8th end. And Finland has to battle back, stole one in the last, and in position to do so again. Iji Sneedl, this Czech Republic team, trying to get rid of that Yellowstone and misses everything. So it's a steal again, and a 1-point game now with 2 ends remaining. Czech Republic, Finland.
Yeah, they're closer and closer now, Finland, but
that little rub here in our feature game, Norway, Sweden, sitting on the top of the 8 foot. There's a chance. Get rid of this one and get your force.
Just peeling this off, and Niklas would have to play the draw for 1 here.
So well done there, able to get rid of those 2. And Niklas Sedin left a draw for 1 to tie the game up.
It really is a tight game, and they don't give each other anything. You have to make the shots.
Well, just need full 8 foot or better. See the broom down going out wide. That's on the side right next to the spectators. Try and keep this one clean. Give this one up to the front end. Schall and Lindberg.
It's much longer.
Ni har den.
Nicholas is worried that it's long.
Ren. Ni har den.
Well, just cleaning this one down right into the forefoot as Sweden able to get one. They'll tie this game up once again. We are all knotted up at 4 apiece. So you're watching the Ford World Men's Curling Championship, 4-4 Norway, Sweden. Well, back inside the Save On Foods Memorial Center. The fans enjoying the action here this afternoon. As we look around all the games going on, we are on sheet D. Luke Coley here with Christian Lindstrom. 9th end, 4-4. Advantage either side right now, just the way things are going.
Good. And it's a very good game, and both teams are playing great, so it's hard to tell you who the winner is here.
Well, centerline guard.
Center guard up, and they're doing everything to force a point now for Team Norway.
Good stuff, good stuff. Kommer langt ut nå. Det är bra.
Norway puts up the corner guard to. They know that Sweden's going to do everything to force them, so they want the corner guard or long. They're putting it in the house for Xavier.
Keeping it away from the center line.
Yeah. So they played the Xavier on their first. And Victor is playing the high guard.
Well, Norway wants to blank. Sweden wants to force. We'll see which side wins out here in this 9th end. See this numerous times in games where close coming to the last couple, trying to strategically position who has the hammer and which ends.
It really is a game on the scoreboard now, and both teams are playing the scoreboard. This is a very important shot by Håvard. You don't want to sit more than T-line. Can't afford to be long here. Looks a bit long. Sweden can use that to freeze it. And they will have the game in in the center of the house.
Bra linje, bite 4. Bite 4.
Känns där. Full 4.
Perfekt linje för frysen.
Den är frys.
Viktor har den.
Well, you don't want to move it very far. Just
Ja, vi
close up the scoring zone.
Yeah, they only want to freeze here.
Okay.
It's such a high guard, so I think Norway can come, maybe play a tap back, back 4 weight or something.
Double peel.
Norway decides to double peel and try to get their all the guards out of the way. Christopher's very good at those shots.
Well, trying to go over the top, misses the double peel, but gets the top one off. That was objective number 1.
Eller chappa den på kanten kanske. Ja. Ja. Normal. Eller vill du spela mindre?
He decided to nose hit the one in the 12 foot on the side there. Sweden still got a center guard and one in the 4 foot.
Avrull just nu. Ja, det är avrull. Vänta.
They really need to stick around on this one.
Tala då. Tala då.
Well, hits, rolls out.
They can't afford to do that in the 9th end.
And quickly jump over 9th end, Switzerland, China, 2-2. Pardon me, I got my score wrong there. Here, trying to get at this one. Trying to get rid of that yellow one. 3-2 China leading. And trying to get rid of that Chinese stone, unable to. And it is a steal, so 4-2 after 9 ends. It's must win for Switzerland.
Yeah, and a big steal for China, who's still they're good in the standings. And
Well, trying to run it right off of that, get everything going, and that one Yellowstone will just hang around edge of the rings, and now Sweden in a position to try and get that all-important force.
almost a perfect shot from SWE.
Mycket pålagt. 24. Den är mycket pålagt, men håll igång ändå kanske. Bara fart. Skjut och räcka, skjut och räcka, skjut och räcka, skjut och räcka Heden. Inte bakom tid. Inte bakom tid.
Bara Viktor, bara Viktor. Vänta så länge du kan. Vänta om den är i boxen. Ja, gå nu, gå nu, gå nu. Gå, 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 gå.
Well, need to be around it, just top part of the house. Able to get that one just into the top of the rings.
Ulster is looking at the double. How the angles up to the double.
Ser du alt for lite av, nå er det kjempevanskelig. Ja, men vi bare skal spille på den nå, så vi kan få den hit da. Ja, dette som det er, og bortover der. Kant til kant. Ja, så tynt som mulig egentlig. Det er ganske...
Well, a long look, what they want to go after.
I think they're going to play the red corner here. Try to angle it. Take the yellow one out and stay in the rings with the red one. Try to just work the double as close as they can.
Thomas Levold here, the third for Norway, his first. They have the hammer, trying to run this one in, kick it over towards that yellow. And they swept it a little too much.
Too much.
Well, we'll take a look in Canada-Russia. 8th end, 5-4. Canada leads. They have last rock, and Brad Jacobs and double here to try and score a couple. Canadian skip lost 2 of his last 3. Well, and that one will end up going nose on it and leave that stone, and a steal of 1 for Russia. So Canada-Russia all tied up after 8.
Drostov, the Russian skip, has really played well this tournament, and they have 6 losses, but the Russian skip is really playing good. A tight game with every game with the Russian skip playing that good.
Well, giving Canada all he can handle, all they can handle. So was Niklas Edin with Thomas Olsrud, as trying to size up, run that one back and try and roll the shooter over to the other one.
Yeah, it's a really good call. It's a really good call if you make it. Two-thirds to make the hit and roll and angle it back on the yellow one in the house.
Well, trying to angle it in, they'll end up killing that one, going right through, so don't get either of them.
Här är man helt safe och kan aldrig fastna på någonting. Och vi kommer forsa den. Sen kommer vi frysa den, han fryser ju aldrig den här. Det kanske är... Om det man kommer inte skottet då. Måste jag dra 4 för att ens få poäng.
The question is, where do you go now? You're in a position to get a force, and you want to make it as difficult as possible.
Yeah. You don't want to leave Norway a double here, so it can end up with a blank end for Norway. But as long as you're in the house, you have a yellow stone right to the right in the house, so it's pretty hard to get that out of the way.
Strax framför, men inte för långt. Går han för långt fram. Den svåraste frysningen också. Lite segare, runt 90-95.
First skip stones, 9th end, Sweden, Norway. Norway at 4-4, can't afford to drop a 5th game.
Rent. Strax framför så han inte kan frysa den. Bra där, bra där.
Right in front of the T-line so that Norway can't freeze it. They can freeze it, but play the double and hope for a hit and roll out of the house by Niklas, and
that's what Ollie can look for now. You either make the double or you make a corner freeze, force him to blast.
Yeah. It's a so difficult shot to make the freeze perfect. With Niklas' big weight shots.
Well, this end swung back and forth a couple of times.
Also just wants to hit and roll towards the other one in the back 4 area, in back 8 white.
Well, make the hit. Will they get the double? They'll catch it, slide right through. And just a millimeter or 2 off of making the double. And now Adin can put one in, put the pressure on.
Yeah, he sure can. It's 9th end and line 3 now, and making Norway either draw for 1 or a shot for 1, and really put the pressure on Norway here. Talking about putting it on the side of the forefoot.
Fullt tal. Ta det lugnt, ta det lugnt, ta det lugnt. Ni har den. Bara fight 8. Känns långt. Hellre kort än lång. Ja, Viktor har den. Hellre kort. Hellre kort än lång. Hellre kort. Då är det uppe. Men det är en bra skotte då.
Ja, men det spänger.
Kör!
Well, right in. Lie 3. Nose hit for Ulsrud. And he's done his job forcing Ulsrud to face 3.
It's really been back and forth in this game with the forces. Really high scored game.
Yep, femte. 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 Helt bort.
Well, needs to hit and stick. The last, and Ulsrud does just that. Hits, sticks, gets his 1. So Norway must win game at 4-4. Now has a lead heading to the 10th end, 5-4. Sweden has the hammer, will try and score a deuce in 10 to improve to 6-2. We'll get a chance to look in, keep up to date with Czech Republic, Finland going on sheet C. See those Yellowstones lined up. Finland has given the Czech Republic, Niji Schneidel, everything they can handle. 7-6. In turn draw. Schneidel to try and get a single point. Pressure shot, especially facing 4. Well, trying to get this one to the forefoot. Finland would like to try and steal to tie the game up, but comes right down, back button. good for 1 and a 2-point lead heading to the 10th end on sheet C. So Finland will have the hammer trying to get a deuce to tie that game up. Here in the Save On Foods Memorial Center, Luke Coley, Christian Lindstrom, watching Norway-Sweden, the 2013 Ford World Men's Curling Championship. First stone, top part of the house. Corner guard going up. Sweden will try and set up a 2, which would win them the game.
I think Norway's game plan this end is they're very happy with just forcing 1 and not to risk anything more. So pretty open, and
all the guards there. Does it change anything that Norway's now basically on their last life of the event? They can't afford another loss. Played a little more cautious?
no, I mean they have to play. They have to go all in now. 1 more loss and they're out. So Norway has been there before. They played so many championships. So I don't think they're thinking about it right now. They're just focusing on the game right now.
Well, little tap pushes it behind the tee line. Shot stone back 8 foot.
It's a nice tap from Victor.
Well, Christopher Sva look to play the hit. Mid-90s for Christopher in this one. A well-played game both ways. Couple little slip-ups throughout that cost a couple of deuces. Otherwise, just singles. Nose hit.
Nicholas will go for the hit and roll behind the center or the corner guard. If they make it, they're in a pretty good position with the Norwegian second stone or shot stone behind tee line.
Well, try and make the quiet wait double. Well, hit, spill that one away. Still, shot stone Norway. Now back 12 foot. Nice thing for Nicholas is the 4 foot is open. He needs to draw for his 1 at the end of this 10th end.
Yeah. They're following their game plan, and now they have room to come around or tap again if there be a good come around here for Norway.
I'll try and get as much in behind to lie. 1-2. Canada, Russia over on sheet A. See that stone back. 4 foot belongs to Canada. Nothing protecting an open draw here for Jacobs as the double was missed by Drozdov with his final shot. So an open draw, Canada take a 7-5 lead. Trying to move to 7-2. Well, on it almost the entire way. Ryan Fry out to help as EJ Harnden backs off. Just guide this one in. And right into the 4 foot to get the 2. So Canada, 2-point lead heading to the 10th end over there.
Okay, set up kosta.
Fredrik was trying to make a quiet hack weight on the 8 foot stone and shot stone of Norway, but barely touched the guard. He just touched the guard and went through. that's a big miss from Sweden. And a good chance for Norway to put another guard up.
Well, the guard goes up. Well, take a look over Switzerland. China's, we're getting late here in draw 13. 4-2 the score. Sven Mikkel needs the win. 4-4. Does not play this evening, but needs to win because China ahead of them in the standings at 4-3. This trying to tie the game up, send it to an extra end. As Leo Ray and China. Big sweep to try and get it there. Have to get it into the rings. And there it goes. Good for Mikkel and Switzerland. They're headed to an extra end. Winner of that will move to 5 wins. Swiss can't lose. Run back, Sebastian Kraup.
Yeah, run back double. Really nice shot. Norway now trying to make the hit. The Swedish stone in the house. Now they're trying to come around. And light 2 in the house.
Well, they come right in. Risky shot because you leave that Yellowstone in the house. That something happened. If you didn't make a buy wreck on the guard, you'd leave a chance for Sweden to hit line 2. The risk worth it. They make the nice shot to lie 1-2.
It was a good call. I didn't know that the yellow one was, the red one was shot. So now Norway's lying 2 and you need to run the guard again. If Norway wouldn't hit that red on the side, then Sweden would have come around the corner, the semi-corner.
Well, they got the right man on the job here, Sebastian Kraup. He's been spot on with all these run backs this game.
It's really close.
Needs one right now. Try and run it back, make the double.
Oh,
jams it.
Just jammed it back well.
It's a tough break because they're close to making the double and then sitting 2. Instead now, Alsrud looking to see who shot stone.
Trying to hit here and stay 2, light 2 in the house and force Sweden to maybe hit and roll and or maybe come around for their deuce in this end and the win.
Well, Skip Stone's 10th end, a 1-point game. So nose hit will lie 2. Trading back and forth. Not playing the hit, had to make sure that they were lying 2. Weren't sure who was shot stone. Now Nicholas will try and set up his 2 by drawing around.
Fully buried on the 8th foot is what Nicholas is telling his teammates, and they will do everything in their power to sweep it there.
Det behöver inte vara för högt. Han har ju tangeringen på egen, men den kan han ju få spela också. Då spelar han ju bort egen. Rullar han av liksom, då kan vi köpa den där bakom för 2 också. Full 8, bite 4 är helt okej. Till att komma skottet, det är alltså nästan halva inne.
93% on draws in the game for Nicholas Edin. Wants to draw around, try and get his 2 this way, but it's not really the result they're looking for, but stops for shot. Stone back 8 foot. Norway gonna call a timeout.
Ja, vi skal jo egentlig det. Det var veldig grei å komme til. Ja, du kan velge vei egentlig.
Du har en der som køler litt mer opp.
Ja, vi må helt ned da, ikke sant? Jeg tror... Hvis du tapper den en stein, ja. Så ligger vi med 3. Ja. Ser nesten Lestes på... Out. Ja. Enig. Da får du med buen nedsom. Jeg tror det.
Always talking about the tap back here. Tap it to third, fourth stone, and line 3, forcing Sweden to take the 1 and the extra end.
Så dytter det der, så ligger vi med 1, 2, 3. Ja. Frys er også grei, man spiller ikke for hardt. Ja, men ja, greit, ikke noe mer enn det. Ikke noe mer enn det. Backline, Løvold. Ja, backline. Toller over.
Just the backline weight here and going for the tap back.
Sett deg ned. Hæ? 1,50. Vi har tid til det. Ta vent. Det kommer til å bli sinnssykt mye bråk der akkurat når vi skal spille.
Well, Ole made his way down there, and Thomas was already heading down. He gave the umpire a little bit of a hug and made his way back up to the coach's bench. Sort of use that, you do the clock stops as the coach makes their way down, so they save a bit of time there.
Yeah.
Just to have a little bit of a discussion. Well, right down to it. We'll end up coming and tapping that one through.
Nicholas is forced to the 1 here in the 10th end.
Solid end from Norway. Just continued knowing that a force is a good game plan. Don't have to go all out to try and steal. Playing an extra with the hammer.
Yeah, they're really pleased with that.
So Nicholas Sedin, this to force an extra end. Needs a piece of the 4 foot.
Ben.
Nej, samma.
Ben. Heder igen.
Wow. Vi behöver nog lite rygg.
Okej, ingenting då.
Vi behöver rygg.
Needs backing.
Wow då.
Ha rygg. Ni har den.
They have their backing now, so they're just cleaning it down to the 1 points for Sweden.
Well judged, puts it right on the tee line, as can be expected between these two. As it is 5-5, we will head to an extra end. It'll be Norway with last rock advantage. Well, back inside the Save On Foods Memorial Center, Luke Coley, Christian Lindstrom, and it's been a quality game. So good, why don't we play an 11th? As 5-5 the score. Nadine had to draw for 1. So we'll see the tick efforts. Try and push it to the boards. Important shots that can win you a game.
That's why they have Howard. He's really good at those shots.
Try and push this one just off to the side. Just touches that one over. Very nice. Shooter rolls off to the side. We'll see another guard go up. As moments ago, you probably heard it. The roar of the Canadian crowd. Andre Drozdov had a double to try and tie it. Unable to. Means a steal of 1. The Canadians win. They rebound with an 8-5 win over Russia as they improve their record to 7-2. They are off this evening, while Russia will take on Japan tonight, Canada's final day of round robin. They will have Denmark in the afternoon, Sweden in the evening. And a mistake at a crucial time that will allow them to peel that one off.
Huge mistake. You don't see Victor do that mistake that often. You never see him do that mistake.
And we'll peel that one out as it goes into the rings. Just those 2 guards and handshakes on sheet B. It's a victory and an extra end for China, as China draws for 1, takes a 5-4 win. At a tough loss for Switzerland. That drops them to 4-5. Not mathematically eliminated, but in all certainty will need a lot of help for that to happen, especially since China was ahead of them and now moves to 5-3.
Yeah, for sure. China's playing well. Very solid team this week.
And China will play Denmark tonight. Christopher Svah will start peeling. Just such a big stone sliding in these extra ends. Didn't even force him to play the tick. Got to play a straight peel.
Yeah, you really can't do that kind of misses in them. When it means that much, you can't throw it that hard that it goes in.
And we are now the last game on the ice as the Czech Republic able to hold on a win against Finland. So Czech Republic still alive at 4-4 with the victory. 9-6 over Finland. Aku Koste tried to come back, was close. Couldn't quite come up with the shots when needed. Another centerline guard has a skip. If your team gives you the 4-foot in an extra end, that's all you can ask for.
Yeah, it really is. That's all you can ask for. And Team Sweden will try to just play the center guards and hope that maybe there's a mistake from Norway and just hits and sticks and just hits, stays in the center guard.
Well, another guard goes away.
Team Sweden just waiting for one mistake, or on Nicholas' last one, they just go around the corner guard and hope for a bad draw from Team Norway. That's all they can hope for.
Well, halfway through this extra end, 5-5. Norway with the hammer needs a win at 4-4. They've seen one of the 4-4 teams drop, that being Switzerland. China with a win moves to 5-3. Along with Denmark, those two will play tonight, so one of those will have 4 losses.
It's really tight in the standings, and you can't tell yet who's going on the playoffs.
Canada's finished today. They have 2 games remaining. They're 7-2. Scotland plays Sweden tonight. They're 6-2. A loss here would drop Sweden to 3 losses. They'd be playing Scotland tonight.
And Canada tomorrow. Big game for Sweden.
Thomas Levold looking for the peel. On it, out of his hand.
You'll probably see a come around now from Sweden. Around the corner guard. Trying to put a pressure on Norway here.
Känns isen okej?
Unset till tror jag till och med.
So intern come around, Sebastian Kraup.
Försiktigt, försiktigt. Jag tror han är lång. Ni har en, linjen är bra.
Gärna curla, men linjen är helt okej. Få lottfot i alla fall. Viktor har den hela vägen. Kommer mycket nu, kör då. Kör då, kör då, kör då. Kör, gå, gå, gå! Bra. Bra.
Well, they get one behind cover. They just had to make the nice draw.
Perfect come around, yeah. By playing that shot, they force Norway to peel the guard. And then they can put another corner guard up and just wait for Nicholas to play his last stone in the 8-foot, 4-foot, and hope for a mistake from Norway.
Well, that's how it should shake down.
Yeah.
We'll see the execution of the shots to get to that point.
Yep.
And that one will go right by everything. So Thomas Levold with the flash, and you heard them. The call to sweep at the end was to make sure they didn't touch that guard over to the center.
Yeah.
So we talk about how the end should play out, and then there's the miss.
Yeah.
So at that point he was calling for it. Not sure how it didn't move it at all.
I think it went through it. It looked like that.
Well, it's a good thing Thomas can have a little chuckle on it. So one miss from either side so far in this end.
Yeah. Very important misses for both teams. It's kind of a hard call now. Like, what do you want to do with this placement of the rock?
Well, they decide, just let them listen in what they talk this one through.
Jag tror oavsett om läget ligger kvar så här, så på min sista måste du dra den in på halva fyran där nere. Då får han välja att tajka den, eller så drar han. Jag tror han kommer dra. Väljer han att tajka så har han rullat av på en där, och det är lite smetigare, du kan dra, han blir mesig. Men lägga på den lite. Jag skulle vilja tvinga till att dra, för han har inte dragit någonting. Han har bara spelat hårdast. Det är hans bread and butter, de är bra på att lägga. Jag vet, men han har inte varit det mot de andra lagen. Han drog kort mot annat. Jag skulle vilja tvinga honom till att dra, för det är segan lite. Det är för mycket att dra på. Alltså han har ju inte det optimala. Inte om vi lägger ett bite. Så har han ändå hela 4 foten att dra på. Ja, bite. Om vi lägger bite 4, det är men det är på gränsen. Kommer den lite längre så då har han ju, alltså, går det inte att missa taken. Nej, det tycker jag. Vi kan hoppas på att lägga mittvikt, då har han 5 fot att dra på. Vad ska vi det är för mycket. Alltså, jag tycker vi drar på sidan 4 foten. Vad ska vi också göra 4 foten på den här sidan?
Making their way out, of course, a member of the famed Annette Norberg team, and announcing her retirement from competitive curling today.
Men om vi lägger center nu, om vi lägger här då.
Big news in curling Sweden and in the world.
Vi kan spela en center, men jag
Probably the best ladies curling player ever in the world, with 2 Olympic golds and several
Jag tror han klipper
championships,
rent med
gold,
out. I så fall säger den bet. Men vad gör man på sista?
both Europeans and
Drar på
worlds.
sidan av fyrfoten och hoppas att han väljer mellan 3-fotdragning eller öppen chapp och ligga kvar på 6 fot. Och det känns som det bästa. Han har ju rullat av på en innan där ute i matchen. Kan sätta sig lite i huvudet. Han har inte dragit på ett tag
Han
heller.
satte dock för poäng i...
Ja. Fast blir det för matchvinst så de ligger lite längre ut där.
Ja.
They're talking about, do we want to play the center guard
Drar den i linan är för
and
svårt
maybe
för
give
oss också.
Thomas the chance to peel it on the double? Maybe he can stick that one. Or do we make the draw?
Då kan vi chappa den och så.
I think if we make the draw, then Thomas will follow. And they're now deciding if we want Thomas to draw or make
Den kan ju
the
snedfrysa egen
shot.
också. Komma en halv fot närmare.
Jag tycker vi
Make
lägger
the
den
hit.
i alla fall. Ja, tar varandra sen.
Well, Ava stops for a little chat with the competitors as well. Figure she'd see what they have to think.
Vad känner du för Thomas? Vill du slå eller dra?
Sebastian, he asks Thomas, do you want to draw or do you want to hit on your last stone?
After all that, the final decision. Put up the center line guard.
Topp 12 just nu.
I think so.
Vi är långt. Topp 12.
And they're calling it a bit
Behöver Eka för att sitta framför.
long, a bit much to wait here.
Topp 12.
Top 12.
Topp 8.
Ingenting. Aldrig röra. Okej.
Well, it slides into the rings. Alsrud sizing up, trying to go for the double. Or does he want to try and hit roll to the other side and stick around?
Think he wants to trying the double or just peel it?
Du kan spille om du vil. Det finnes ikke med inn da, hvis vi prøver å doble. Det finnes ikke her egentlig. Og det gjør den ikke. Nei, men jeg tenkte bare for å kle på så lenge vi er på. Sånn, ja. Ja, is midt på senterlinja. Kan spille alt. Den turn du vil spille, det er ikke out. Ja, out. Greit, da. Midt på senterlinja.
Ja, du må bestemme det selv.
Ja, ja. Men...
They change, go with the out turn just to put straight peel.
Yeah, just a straight peel and
Well, trying to get rid of that one. Well, hit wants to roll out. So now, another decision for Sweden.
now was the question about what do you want to give Thomas on his last?
Jag är säker på att han tänker om eller gör det. Kanske drar han då. I så fall har han bara 3 fot. Jag tror han slår för att han spelar samma sten tidigare match. Jag tror det.
You want to give Thomas the hit
Nej, inte säkert.
or do you want to give him the draw?
Vinsten drog jag, då hade vi en sten så här någonting.
Looking on the score in this game, he has been pretty good at both.
Den eller den.
So
Jag gillar att fingrarna drar lite tajta, men det är för mycket. Jag tror jag missar 5 fot. Ja, lägg den här. Det är okej. Alltså, det finns ingen rätt och fel, så... Nej.
Samma fart.
Well, they have one side of the 8-foot. You see the time, 1 minute. And counting, so won't have a lot of time in the hack, but enough time to
enough time, yeah.
just think it through.
Take a deep breath and
Where do they want to go with this one?
they want to go to the edge of the 4-foot.
Gå eller?
Ja.
Edge of the 4-foot and T-line. And they're not sure if Thomas is going to hit it or draw.
Draw.
76.
He's got to put it in that position first. Edge of the forefoot. Here, extra end. Sweden 5-2. Norway 4-4 record.
Rölla nu. Ede har en tandläggare här också. Ni har en. Japp.
Well, right down to the forefoot. It is shot stone. It can be hit to get shot rock. And as soon as it came down, I think Ulsrud had a good idea. He was going to play the quiet hit.
Yeah. Just a board. Wait. And try to stick around in the forefoot for the win.
Well, a must-win game for Norway, their last of the day. Then they also have the U.S. and Russia trying to win out and give himself a chance to get to the playoffs. Needs to make this hit and stick. Thomas Ulsrud, his final stone of this extra end. Well, right out of his hand, have to hit and stick. Makes the hit, little roll, great scrub, Pedersen, NOR-SWE.
Great shot.
They get the upper hand on Niklas Edin and Sweden. What a game. Comes down to last rock of an extra end, 6-5. Norway sneaks one out against Sweden. They now move to 5-4. Sweden drops to 5-3. A big win for Norway and Thomas Ulsrud. Well, it was a big win for Norway. They will help their cause to try and get to the playoffs with that win in an extra end. That wraps up draw 13 as Norway victorious. They knock off Sweden, so Sweden now has to rebound tonight against Scotland. Norway has the evening off. It's a fantastic curling game. Both teams playing outstanding. 91 as a team, 88% for Sweden. And a look at the highlights from this game as we skip to the sixth end. And a double try here for Niklas Edin. It was risky to go after it. Could have hit for one, wanted to get the deuce in the even ends. Long discussion, looking for the double. They'll make it, but look at the spin, right back up. Continues to go, rotates right out of the rings, doesn't come back. Missed that extra point by just that much. 10th end, 1 point game, and a solid end from Norway, able to put the pressure, and Sweden not able to set anything up. Has to draw for their one to force an extra end. And Niklas Edin is spot on, right down to the forefoot. Not a problem for the European champion. Gets his one, and we are off to an extra end. In that extra end, decision what to play, hit or the draw. No question, in the forefoot, Thomas Ulsrud, his intern, hit and stick to pick up a win. And there it is, sticks around in the forefoot. Thomas Ulsrud can breathe a sigh of relief with that one as they win 6-5, Norway over Sweden to wrap up draw 13. Other scores in draw 13. Canada defeats Russia. They bounce back with an 8-5 win. Switzerland drops one, and that might eliminate them against China. China with the 5-4 win, also in an extra end. And Czech Republic 9-6 over Finland. as we look at the standings now after 13 draws. Canada 7-2. Scotland follows at 6-2. And China and Denmark at 5-3. They'll play tonight, while Sweden takes on Scotland there at 5-3. Norway still on the first page at 5-4. Followed closely Czech Republic and the U.S. 4-4. Switzerland with that 5th loss is big. Japan 5 losses. Russia and Finland just 1 win. Now, here's Thomas Ulsrud.
Well played, Thomas. How important was that win in the grand scheme of things?
It was crucial, as usual, with Norway late in the week. We're desperate for wins, and I think if we lost this one, we'd be depending on other teams. Now I think we still have it in our own hands, so pretty much have to win from here on out.
And bouncing back and looking better, particularly after the defeat to Scotland.
Yeah, we had a terrible game against Scotland this morning, and they played great. So, but this game this afternoon against Sweden was good for us.
What made the difference, do you think?
That was a close game. It's always when we play Niklas and the boys from Sweden, but today it was our turn to win. So just right side of the inch, I guess.
And a couple of games to go. Just keep it going, I guess.
Yeah, just keep it going. You know, and looking on the paper, I think we have a pretty good chance. But look at it out here, everybody's beating everybody. So I'm not sure.
We'll see what happens. Thanks, Thomas. Well played.
Thank you.
Well, that was Thomas Ulsrud, victorious here in draw 13. For myself, Luke Coley, Christian Lindstrom, Al Hackner, and the rest of the crew, thanks for watching, and tune in later on tonight. We have more coverage from Victoria in the Ford World Men's Curling Championship.